Krav Maga is a comprehensive system of self-defense, third-party protection and fighting skills forged in the field, under real-life conditions, both in the battlefield and on the streets. Emerging out of the needs of a persecuted, resource-strapped minority defending itself against those bent on its destruction, Krav Maga was developed through extensive experience in the war for survival and in face-to-face confrontations. Today, Krav Maga is an integrated system incorporating clear logic, highly effective and systematic techniques, concepts and principles of action, as well as unique, advanced training methodologies. Throughout its development, the concepts laid down by Krav Maga's founder have remained constant: simplicity and efficiency, upholding the highest moral values and respect for all mankind. Grandmaster Imi Stay-Or, founder of Krav Maga, was born Imrich Lichtenfeld in Budapest, Hungary in May of 1910. He grew up in Bratislava, Slovakia, where his father, Samuel, was head of the city police department's detective unit. As part of his role, Samuel was charged with training his subordinates in defensive tactics. Under his father's influence, Imi started training at an early age and quickly emerged as an exceptionally talented athlete. As a teenager, he trained in gymnastics, wrestling and boxing. By the age of 19, he was already recognized as an international champion in these fields. Later, he focused on wrestling and competed as a member of Slovakia's national team for a decade. In 1936, fascism begins to spread throughout Europe, bringing with it a wave of violence against minorities. Entire Jewish communities find themselves defenseless, under constant attack instigated by the authorities. Imi, a young, proud Jewish athlete, is not prepared to put up with the humiliation and helplessness of the victims. Together with other young men, he organizes a group dedicated to the active defense of those targeted for attack. Under his leadership, the brave defenders successfully fight back, driving off the assailants using only their bare hands. It is under these circumstances that the seeds for an effective combat and self-defense system are planted. A system nurtured and developed by Imi a few years later into what would become known as Krav Maga. The year is 1940 and World War II is raging throughout Europe. Imi leaves Bratislava just moments before it is taken over by the Nazis, and he boards an underground immigrants boat to Palestine. After a long journey, during which he joins the Czech Legion of the British Army, Imi arrives in Palestine, which at that time was under the control of the British Mandate. He quickly becomes involved in the training and instruction of Jewish defense organizations, fighting against the Arab insurgency. With the establishment of the State of Israel, Imi naturally integrates into the newly established Israel Defense Forces. Due to his extensive experience and formidable abilities, he is nominated as the Army's chief physical fitness and hand-to-hand combat instructor. It is in this role that he begins to develop Krav Maga and to train soldiers, officers and instructors. In 1964, after 20 years of service, Imi is honorably discharged from the military. He decides to organize his vast knowledge and practical experience into a system suitable for civilian application as well. As part of this initiative, Imi opens 2 self-defense studios, training many students and instructors, all the while adapting and improving the Krav Maga system for civilian self-defense as well as for the needs of elite military and police units. In 1974, at the age of 15, Eyal Yanilov begins to practice Krav Maga. Early on, he shows extraordinary talent, both as a practitioner of the system and as an instructor. He is quickly recruited by Grandmaster Imi to train other instructors, and he later takes Imi's place teaching higher level classes. In the early 1980s, Eyal becomes Imi's foremost instructor and his closest disciple, as well as his most trusted assistant and advisor. After completing his studies in electrical engineering, Eyal starts training Israeli counter-terrorist units. Along with Imi, he writes a series of books laying out the principles of Krav Maga. Considering Eyal's substantial knowledge and experience, Imi decides to appoint him as head of the professional committee of the Israeli Krav Maga Association. In this position, Eyal creates and upgrades the curriculum, formalizing Krav Maga as a coherent system built around principles of action and unique instructional and training methods. In the mid-1980s, Eyal travels abroad, introducing Krav Maga to people in countries around the globe, first in the United States and then in Europe. He teaches the system to elite military and law enforcement units as well as to civilians. In order to manage the challenge of spreading Krav Maga beyond Israel's borders, Eyal founds the International Krav Maga Federation and serves as its chairman and head instructor under the tutelage and support of Grandmaster Imi. Imi regarded Eyal as family and as the natural choice for leadership of the Krav Maga system. For this purpose, Imi awarded him with the Founder's Diploma of Excellence and the first ever rank of Expert 8, the highest rank awarded to a Krav Maga practitioner. Imi Steor Lichtenfeld passed away in 1998 at the age of 88. To the day he died, Grandmaster Imi served as mentor and spiritual guide for Eyal Yanilov, and together they enhanced and developed Krav Maga. Since Imi's death, Eyal has taken upon himself the responsibility of leading and developing Krav Maga and taking it to the next level. He trains instructors and staff all over the world and has created a global infrastructure for disseminating the system. In practice, Eyal has trained all of the world's first-generation Krav Maga instructors. At present, a team of elite instructors, the global team, is assisting him in spreading the knowledge and the system of Krav Maga to numerous countries around the world. In addition to the many civilians training in Krav Maga centers, military and police special forces from around the world have also adopted Krav Maga as taught by Eyal and his team as their preferred hand-to-hand combat and tactical defense system. Over the years, the global network of Krav Maga branches has increased substantially, along with the numbers of practitioners and instructors. Different offshoots developed, all training under the umbrella name of Krav Maga. The International Krav Maga Federation, which was founded as a sports association, could barely meet the various changing needs of the times, and it became impossible neither to develop Krav Maga within the IKMF, nor to preserve the moral and professional spirit outlined by Imi. Therefore, Eyal decided, along with others, to harness his vast experience in Krav Maga, close to 40 years in the field, and founded Krav Maga Global, the Kmg. Kmg is the vehicle for Eyal and his team to disseminate and promote Krav Maga in an ethical, unique and uncompromising manner. Activities in various countries and close contact with those in the field enable tactical and technical growth and development suitable for each location and particular set of circumstances. Today, years after the passing of Grandmaster Imi, Krav Maga Global carefully supervises the professionalism of its instructors and the quality of instruction at all levels. Insistence on the highest moral and professional standards preserves the spirit and original path of Krav Maga's founder.
As a trainee, as a practitioner of Krav Maga, when it is possible for you to react, to respond, to attack, not to counterattack, to attack. It's very clear that sometimes you may have the opportunity to start with attacks, not to wait until somebody attacks you, but to use your abilities, to use the opportunity and start with a preemptive attack. The question is when this is possible. The answer is simple. If the person in front of you, if the attacker or the would-be attacker has the intention, the ability and the tool to attack you, then you can start with preemptive attacks, preemptive actions. Actions, you can run away sometimes. It can be the best solution. However, if you need to fight and to stay there and to defend yourself and others, you will have to do it. So the question is still there. How and when should I attack first? The answer is simple. If the attacker, if the enemy has the intention, meaning the person wants to attack you, but he doesn't want to attack you only theoretically. He has the ability. He can reach you and harm you. And the third thing that the attacker should have is the means, the tools. The tool can be a knife, the tool can be a gun, the tool can be a hand, the tool is a leg also. So attacking with a tool, having the intention, having the ability, the moment somebody has this, you must act. You must react even, we can say. But how do you react? You can definitely react with a preemptive attack. Don't let the attacker start. Finish the situation before it even starts towards you, I mean.
Hard break fall forward. Whether somebody had thrown you or you stumbled, fell, and you are going towards the ground in relatively high speed, the need to break fall is obvious. If the time is short, you cannot do a soft break fall, and a hard break fall is needed. You are striking the ground with the palms and forearms. Your elbows should not hit the ground. The natural way of striking the ground brought the palms closer than the elbows are close to each other, sort of a triangle. In this break fall, the elbows are below the height of the shoulders. Raise your head, your body should be straight, and the strike to the ground is stopping you from falling further. The head is raised so it will not hit the ground. Straighten your body to prevent it from hitting the surface. The learning process to this break fall is to execute it from low height, meaning from your knees and from low squat. Rolling sideways. The assumption is that you are falling sideways and you cannot turn to either direction to execute a roll forward or roll backwards. The momentum enables a roll. Your chest is facing forward while the movement is sideways. Execute a roll that will start with the palm, from that towards the upper forearm, the upper arm, the shoulder blade, the other shoulder blade, the side of the body, and then the figure 4 to get up. Executing the roll, you should stay with your chest forward as long as you can. Only one hand is touching the ground in the first phase of the roll. While getting up, you can use the other hand to assist. Place your leading palm in the line of the body. This is the line of rolling sideways. The fingers, however, are pointing forward. Press the ground with your hand to create the resistance that enables you to roll and not to crash into the ground. Roll at the upper part of your back and shoulder blades area. From there to the side of the body and to the figure 4, getting up into the regular ready stance or to side stance. Attacking with headbutts. It is clear that the head is a heavy object and a rigid one. You can use the head in the appropriate manner to create rather much damage to different type of targets, mainly to the head of the opponent. We can distinguish among 5 areas to attack with. As an attacker, you can direct the upper part of the forehead, 2 points above the side of the eyes, and at the back, 2 points that are behind the ear and above towards the upper part of the skull. Hitting with a headbutt should be done with momentum, with speed, with recoiling, hitting fast, and continuing to the next phase. It is most efficient to pull the target, to pull the opponent into the headbutt. Striking forward, send the hitting point and the whole head in the direction of the target, lowering the chin downwards. Hitting backwards, send the point towards the target while lifting the chin and arching a bit. One should know the effect of the impact due to the fact of giving a headbutt. Elbow strike against a group. The need is to burst forward and pass through a group of people who are posing a danger for yourself. Bursting forward with an elbow strike, a forearm strike forward. The elbow, the forearm, the fist of one hand should be hitting at 2 points usually, meaning 2 different opponents. The other hand can do the same or strike one opponent only. With the strike, you are creating an opening that lets you pass through and escape that group of people. The striking hands are high. Direct the strikes to the necks or chins of the opponents. You should lower your head between your shoulders. With maximum momentum and speed, with a strong strike, hit the group of people. The position of the fists are as usual, around 45 degrees turned, striking the opponents and with opening your arms, pushing the opponents to the sides a bit to enable a larger opening for yourself. As needed, you can add a tactic of retreating halfway and then burst forward towards the opponents. The retreat is done with a turn. The group thinks you are escaping. They start reacting to chase you. This retreat and a turn makes some sort of a fake that enables you to surprise the group with the attack towards them. Such a surprise catches them off guard and enables you to reach maximum effect with your attack. Sliding kicks. Such a kick is done with less preparation, advancing and hitting the target. From a regular passive stance, start with the kick and then while shifting your weight forward, slide on the base leg, covering a couple of feet, about half a meter, in order to reach the target. It is rather easy to execute this technique from the general ready stance. You should start with the kick itself, meaning start sending your kicking leg towards the target. As this is happening, advance with the sliding of the base leg on the surface, taking you about half a meter, about 2 feet forward. An attacker, an opponent who feels he's relatively far from you, will be greatly surprised when this attack hits him. A side kick with sliding action. The principle of sliding kick is simple. Start the kick and then slide towards the target, covering distance that enables you to hit the target. From a passive stance, while the target is beside you, start with raising the leg, turning it towards the target in order to create a side kick. While doing so, slide with the base leg, turn the base leg to enable yourself to hit a long and efficient side kick. Big sweep from the outside. Throwing and taking the opponent down may enable you to execute other attacks, go to the next mission, or neutralize the opponent more efficiently. At close range, while doing different techniques of Krav Maga, such as attacks, defenses, you found yourself grabbing the opponent, hitting him. At the appropriate moment, step diagonally forward, raise your knee forward, and while executing some sort of a regular kick backwards, hit the cuff of the opponent's leg, raising your leg backwards to throw the opponent diagonally forward. Doing so, you should take the opponent's weight towards your direction. So the leg that you are sweeping will have most of his weight on it. Raising your leg backwards, you are bending your body, your head, forward. The opponent will land near you. At this moment, you should make a decision. Are you going to attack more or just move away from the danger zone? To enable an efficient sweep, move diagonally forward, step to the side of the opponent's leg. Take his weight on that leg. Raise your leg, and as you strike, you should strike with the foreleg, the lower part of the calf muscle near the Achilles tendon and the Achilles tendon area at a similar, identical part of the opponent's leg. A machine gun takedown. This is a specific throw that historically has been called a machine gun takedown or a machine gun throw in the Israeli Defense Force. Grab and throw the opponent and then move away from the danger zone or continue to do what is needed. Grabbing the opponent should be very tight and close to him, with knees bent, your head, your ear as at the back of the adversary. From the rear, insert your hand as if the opponent is going to sit on the area of your elbow. The other hand is tightly bringing his body to your body. Your pelvis is tight to the opponent's leg. Your knees should definitely be bent. Your upper body is straight. You must not bend forward while you are lifting the opponent. Lift the opponent a couple of centimeters off the ground. Then pull your lower hand, release your upper hand, and with your head also and upper body, push the opponent down in the direction where he was standing in front of you between your legs. The throw itself should be considered an attack, meaning the throw should be executed as hard as needed to enable you to continue with the next move. Here we see a general defense against a side kick. Start by turning your body, shifting your weight and stepping backwards. You should come to a sideways position towards your opponent. Here we are defending whether the kick is sent to a lower target, to the middle section, or towards the head. How much you retreat depends on how much the attacker is close or getting close to you, how much the attacker is advancing towards you. Move your leg away from the danger zone. Lift it in front of your body. With your hand, you are defending the medium section, the area of the hips, which is the closest one to the opponent's kick. The upper body moving away, this is the dynamic, the body defense. As soon as possible, counterattack with the kick. Usually the counterattack will be sent towards the opponent kicking leg that landed. Continue as soon as possible with more relevant counterattacks because the opponent is sideways to you, usually a sideways hammer strike, and continue with more counterattacks. Finish by moving away from the danger zone. The hand defense is a simple deflection from side to side with the forearm, defending the kick which is directed towards the hip. In the end of the hand defense, the wrist and the palm is creating what we call a scooping motion or a scooping defense. Practically, the defense is being done with the forearm, not with the wrist. Here in the dry drill, we see the retreat with the body turn, lifting of the leg with the hand defense at the same time. The other hand is sent towards the opposite side, near the face, as a protection mechanism, of course. Continuing with the earliest possible counterattack with the kick towards the kicking leg or towards the base leg. Continuing with the hammer strike sideways and attacks as needed. Sweeping forearm defense with the front hand, with advancing with the back leg against a side kick. Start by sending your hand diving as if towards the kicking leg. Continue with a strong sweeping motion backwards. At the same time, spin on both balls of the feet, advancing diagonally forward with the body and then with the step. The strong pivot on both balls of the feet with bending the front leg, creating a body move diagonally forward. Eventually, this enables the leg that is in the front or was in the front to become a back leg. Advancing diagonally forward and punching, striking as soon as possible with the right hand, with the back hand it was. This type of sweeping motion prevents the forearm from sinking to the hole which is created by the bend of the knee and the bend in the ankle area. If the forearm sinks there without the sweeping motion, then the kick can hit its target. Pay attention that the spin on the balls of the feet is turning the body, the pelvis changes its position, and it's easy now to advance, to burst forward diagonally in order to reach with a counterattack towards the opponent's head. Continue with more counterattacks as needed. The dry drill, the natural response is to defend with the front hand, meaning the kick will be directed to the area under or above the front hand. Starting with the hand defense, sending the hand diagonally forward, shifting the weight a bit to the front leg, turning strongly, pivoting on both balls of the feet. The forearm is executing a strong sweeping motion like a strike diagonally backwards behind you. The strong body spin change the position of the pelvis and the shoulders. Thus, the hand that was in the rear, the right hand, is now forward, enabling a strong and early strike towards a vulnerable point. By the way, if this hand cannot reach, then it should grab and the back hand should give a strike or use the back leg for kicking. Sweeping forearm defense with a backhand against a kick to the midsection. Hand, body, and step are all combined together. Start with a hand defense, send it diagonally forward and down to meet the kicking leg. A strong sweeping action towards the rear, towards the back, is deflecting, redirecting the kicking leg. We need a sweeping action in order that the defending forearm will not sink into the hole of the knee pit. Body defense with the turn, with the pivot, while advancing diagonally forward. The front hand should deliver the first counterattack. If it cannot reach, then control with the front hand and deliver counterattacks with the back hand. This kick is utilized, so the natural response will be to defend with the backhand. The dry drill, the sweeping hand defense. Defense is done with the forearm. The forearm should be as vertical to the ground as possible while it is striking backwards, while it is sweeping the kicking leg. At the same time as you are redirecting and deflecting the kicking leg, you are moving diagonally forward while turning the body. The pivot of the torso and the hips is serving also as a body defense. By stepping with the front leg diagonally forward, you should be able to reach your target punching with the front hand. Defending a high side kick when it's coming towards the center of the body or the head. Here too, hand, body, and step. The hand defense is a strong sweeping action with the forearm. It is preferred to do the sweeping action while closing the fist. The forearm, with its sweeping action, does not sink into the area of the knee pit, thus able to deflect strongly and sweep the shin of the kicking leg. As usual, we do 200% defense, meaning while we do the sweeping action with the forearm, we are also doing a body defense. The dynamic defense is moving diagonally forward with the torque and spin of the pelvis and torso. In the end of the sweeping action, prepare for a hammer strike sideways. Stepping diagonally forward, closing the gap, being able to strike with the hammer to the vulnerable point in the opponent's head. If you cannot reach with your hammer strike, then grab with the forward hand and deliver counterattacks with the backhand. Continue with more counterattacks and move away from the danger zone, all as needed and fit for the situation. As in the previous techniques, the sweeping action, the hand defense, is being done against the area of the ankle of the kicking leg, the lower part of the shin. Here in the dry drill, we see the hand defense, the body defense, stepping forward and counterattacking. Sweeping action, the forearm defense with the strong body torque enables the sweeping of the kick. While performing the sweeping action, turn the body and advance diagonally forward. The other hand is in the vicinity of the face. As early as possible, change the sweeping action into an attack. Lift the elbow and continue with the hammer strike sideways. The hammer strike sideways is usually followed by a straight punch with the rear hand. Continue with counterattacks as needed. Being rather sideways to the opponent, who is delivering a high side kick, triggers a natural response of bringing the forearm upwards, sending the forearm upwards while turning it and closing the fist. The body is being tilted to the opposite direction, away from the kick. You should lower yourself, even bend your base leg. Then counterattack to the base leg or groin area of the assailant. As needed, make a small step with the base leg in order to bring the foot under your center of gravity. After the first counterattack, continue with more counterattacks as needed and then get away from the danger zone. Additional counterattacks usually are suitable with kicks. However, if you close the distance, use your strikes. The hand defense brings the forearm into a horizontal plane above your head. At the same time, your head moves away and downwards as a dynamic body defense against this kick. As an integrated simultaneous action, lift your forearm, duck your hands a bit with the base leg, and deliver a side kick as the first counterattack. Emphasize that your elbow is being lifted strongly above your head. The hand defense is combined of three actions: lifting the upper arm, turning the forearm, and closing the fist is recommended. Releases from two wrist grabs on the ground. The opponent is sitting on you, trying to pin your hands and arms to the ground. It is best if you try to do the technique at the earliest time. Circle one hand towards your hip, simultaneously with throwing the opponent over your shoulder, lifting your pelvis up and to the side. You are throwing the opponent to the side of the hand that you rotated. Safety in training, it is important for the opponent, for the attacker, as he is being thrown, to turn and land on the shoulder blade. Be careful that your shoulder or head will not hit the ground. While the opponent is being thrown towards the ground, especially if he didn't put a hand out to stop his falling, roll over to the side, and from this position that you are over the opponent, counterattack as soon as possible. Apply the correct counterattacks, then move away from the danger zone. Naturally, the best is if the opponent's hand will be trapped due to the pressure that you apply with your hand towards your thigh or the opponent's thigh. The finishing mode, while getting up, it's possible either to push the opponent's knees, get up and counterattack more as needed, or throw the opponent's leg over your head, getting up sideways and behind the opponent. Dealing with wrist grabs while the opponent is trying to pin your hands to the floor, especially if it is being done above your head or by the side of your head. Grab one of the opponent's hands and throw him up and to the side of that hand. As you grab the opponent's wrist and going with your hands to the ground, you are lifting your hip up and to the side of the grabbed hand. This knot of opponent's hand grabbing yours and you are grabbing his should be more or less above your head. Throw the opponent up and over your shoulder and roll with him to the side. This brings you above the opponent. Release one hand and with this free hand start attacking. Then release the other hand and continue with counterattacks. The method of releasing the wrist grab is naturally circles, as this is a high grip. After the counterattacks, continue as needed with moving away from the danger zone or with more counterattacks as you got up. It is more suitable to do this technique when the opponent is trying to pin your hands over your shoulders or over your head. While seated on the ground, release from a headlock from behind. The opponent's legs is between your legs. As in the technique, while standing, send the chin to the side and two hands to grab the opponent's palms. Pull the opponent's palms towards your sternum. Start with a body turn. Due to the grab, your body turn is very limited and it's difficult to get out from this grab. In sort of a kick, bring your knee up, then send it down as a stomping action with your heel. Turn the foot to the inside and bring your knee back again, like a stomping, recoiling kick. This brings your knee between the opponent's feet and frees one leg from the grab. This enables you to make a strong body turn. Continue with the body turn strongly within the grab itself. Bridge your body, send your shoulder, the left one, into the opponent's chest, thus pinning him to the ground. Due to this, the opponent cannot roll on you. Counterattack as soon as possible, even before you manage to get your head out of the grab. Continue with several counterattacks, get up, and move away from the danger zone. While you're on the stomach, the opponent is grabbing you with the headlock from behind. Turn your head and grab the opponent's palms as soon as you can, exactly as we did in the technique while sitting or while standing. Turn your body and lift your pelvis. The opponent starts falling over your shoulder, this time the right shoulder. This enables you to bring your knee up, either below or above the opponent's foot. Turn your body, roll to the side, and start counterattacking. Deliver several counterattacks as you are taking your head out from the grip. Continue by getting up, counterattack as needed, and move away from the danger zone. Remember to turn your chin towards your shoulder. This disables much of the grab, much of the danger in the grab. Grabbing the opponent's palms should be done with hooks, 5 fingers together in every hand. Pull the opponent's hands towards your chest. This creates a rather big opening for your head to get out from. Release from a choke from behind on the ground while you're on your stomach and the opponent is sitting on you. Put your forehead on the ground, your chin towards your chest, send 2 hands behind, grab, scrape, pluck the opponent's thumbs. Bring your elbows towards the side of your ribs. At the same time, bring one knee up. It can be under the opponent's leg or over the opponent's leg. If you turn the body a bit, it will be easier to lift your knee and bring it over the opponent's leg. As you remove the opponent's hands from your neck, pull the opponent's hand towards your chest and turn strongly sideways. Roll between the opponent's legs. Counterattack as soon as possible while keeping a hold of the hand of the opponent. This will prevent the opponent from further endangering you with that hand. After the first 1 or 2 counterattacks, continue turning until you face the opponent. You do so while counterattacking all the time. After reaching this position, what is left is to move away from the danger zone. Here's the example of pushing the knees, getting up, using kicks as additional counterattacks, all as needed. Note that your first counterattack is done while still you are turning, and the far hand is the one that is striking first, meaning the other hand, not the one that was punching just now. You should roll the opponent over the shoulder. Against a soccer or a football kick directed towards your upper body or head. Hand and body defense, the active and dynamic defenses together, with an early counterattack kicking with the far leg. The hand defense is executed with the fleshy part naturally away from the body, away from the head. If the attacker is kicking with the toes or has a good shoe and kicking with the point of the shoe, the block should be stopping the kick away from the head. But one should not absorb the kick with the forearm. Move away from the kick, sending your upper body in a line parallel to the kick, directing both legs towards the opponent. The closed leg should be lifted, so the knee will be close to the elbow. The bony part of your shin should be blocking the kick. However, if you do it at the correct timing, it will not be absorbing much of the kick. The kick will be more or less sliding on it. This is due to the angle that you created. Like in the outside defenses of the 360, where one hand is blocking and the other one is counterattacking, here too, one shin is blocking and the other leg is kicking. The first kick is usually directed towards the groin of the opponent. Continue then with more counterattacks, eventually get up with more counterattacks or move away from the danger zone. An opponent situated close to you is trying to hit your head or upper body with a stomping kick. Inside defense with the forearm is aimed to deflect the kick at the early part of it, meaning when the kick is relatively high, just starting to be directed towards the target, is being deflected as soon as possible with a defense that has a bit of a sweeping characteristic in it. As soon as possible, convert the defense to the initial counterattack with a straight punch towards the groin area. With the hand defense, you're also doing a bit of a body defense. This is a torque of the body. Moving sideways is rather difficult. So bringing the shoulder up, turning the body, is the main part of the body defense. Counterattack a couple of times with strikes to the groin, then push away at the opponent's knees, crawl, move away, upwards and to the side. This will enable you to move away from the collapsing opponent and get out from the line and channel of his attacks. As soon as possible, you should lift your leg to be able to counterattack, kick the opponent, or on the other hand, maybe you will need to stop the person from falling on you. Pushing at the opponent's knees will either prevent or delay the opponent from crashing towards you. It also enables you to move quickly from beneath the opponent. After the initial strikes and the initial kicks, continue with more counterattacks and then get up as soon as you can. Getting up can be while attacking, kicking and moving aggressively towards the opponent, or moving away from the danger zone. All as needed and suitable in the situation. Against an opponent who is jumping and trying to stomp you on the upper body or head. Usually the opponent will be running from the area of your legs towards the area of your head and upper body. You should bring your shins and hands as protection over your body and head, like a clam. Then spring outward, kicking the opponent as soon as possible. In a good timing, both your legs will be hitting the opponent's groin area and thigh. In most cases, this will cause the opponent to lose his balance and fall on his head or body. In such a case, continue with multiple counterattacks, getting up, and with the finishing mode, all as needed. This action of bringing your shins and forearms to protect your body and head, this clamming type of action, should be done as early as possible. If the opponent is still away from you, springing outward, sending your legs double kicking towards the opponent's lower part of the body is extremely efficient. If you are late, it can be that the kick will slide on this slope that you created, the shins and the forearms. After the kick has slid, then you can continue with the initial counterattacks. In this clamming action, creating the slope, one elbow should be between the legs, between the knees, the other one outside it. The idea is to create a surface which is quite tight, that the kick will not be able to penetrate between the different limbs. When you kick the opponent, catching him in the air, be sure that both your legs do not allow the opponent's leg to penetrate between them. So your feet should be rather perpendicular to the kicking leg. After the initial counterattacks, while you're on the ground, getting up as early as possible is most important. Continue then with the appropriate finishing mode. Defending against an overhand knife attack. From a short distance, meaning attacker can reach you with a short step, he tries to drive the knife into your upper part of the body, the area of the upper chest, the neck, maybe even the face. Strong defense with counterattacks and neutralizing the ability of the attacker to repeat his attacks by hooking on his forearm. Defender is advancing diagonally forward, stretching the opponent's chest and shoulder muscles to make it harder for multiple stabs. Advancing diagonally forward brings your attacking hand, your attacking shoulder, in front of the target, in front of the opponent's face. Your forearm defense pushes the attacking forearm backwards. The defense is being done with the middle area between your pinky joint and your elbow joint, impacting the area of the attacker's wrist. With the defense itself, there is a hook formed around the opponent's forearm and wrist area. After several counterattacks, move the thumb to grab the opponent's lower part of forearm near the area of the wrist. Push his arm backwards. This is a better control than before. Make it harder for the opponent to do more attacks. Counterattack is needed, and then distance yourself from the opponent. Either you move back, or because of your attacks, the attacker is moving backwards. Here comes the section of the finishing mode. One option, of course, is moving away. We've done this before. Or disarm the opponent. To disarm the opponent, circle his arm until his fist comes between you two. Your other hand, with the palm, grabs and presses the fist and the back of the hand of the opponent. Bend strongly his wrist to weaken his grab of the knife. Then relax the grip of the upper hand, your right hand. Insert your fingers into the hand of the opponent, grab the knife and scrape it away. Watch that the blade is directed outward, not towards you. Your defensive technique, your counterattacks, your moving forward, everything should be done very aggressively, abruptly, with a lot of energy, with explosive power. You have to prevent the attacker from breaching you or from re-stabbing you. The attacker stabs from the side. With his right hand, he tries to stab you from your left side. He's aiming the knife towards the upper part of the body, the neck, the trapeze area, the upper chest. As you defend and turn, counterattack with the backhand. As soon as possible, you are shifting your weight towards the opponent, intercepting the attacking hand as soon as possible away from your body. The same forearm defense as was done before. Watch out that the forearm defense is not going to the side or outward, but forward towards the opponent over his shoulder area. Press, advance towards the opponent. Counterattack decisively as soon as you can. Practically, the hand defense and the counterattack with a small advance towards the opponent, all is being done at the same time. The hook with the wrist and the palm, the control technique, the disarming process, all is done as in the previous technique. Be sure that your actions are synchronized in a way that the counterattack is reaching the opponent at the same time or just a fraction of a second after you did the defense. Do not delay your counterattack. Try to meet the opponent's attack while you advance to him with the chest towards him. This will create much of a stronger impact for your technique. Defending the overhand knife attack while moving a bit away and counterattacking with the leg. The attacker is stabbing you either from your left or your right sides, either with his left or right hand. It doesn't matter. This attack is more surprising. In this case, you need a bit more time, a bit more distance in order to function, in order to be successful with defenses and counterattacks. The solution will be strong hand defense, moving the body, tilting the body away from the opponent, retreating away from the opponent with a small step, and counterattack first with a side kick. The first appropriate side kick can be a strong kick to the knee of the opponent. If you are flexible, it can be towards the lower ribs of the opponent. Kicking the opponent's knee, you should lower your hips and bend the knee of the base leg. Like this, the kick will meet its target, the knee of the opponent, more or less in 90 degrees. How much to retreat from the opponent naturally depends on the attacker's advance, the length of the limbs. After the initial strong side kick, continue with more attacks. It can be staying with the sideways to the opponent and then moving away from him, or it can be turning towards the opponent. Usually we recommend to continue with kicks, keeping yourself away from the opponent. As you surely understand, the hand defense is as executed before. However, there's no control over the opponent's hand, and the hand defense is being enhanced by a strong body defense, tilting away from the danger zone. The counterattack is done rather simultaneously with the tilt of the body away from the danger zone. Defending an overhand knife stab, this time the attacker is right-handed coming from your right side. The distance is a short one, meaning the attacker has to make a very small step in order to reach you. As was done in the frontal technique, defending and counterattack simultaneously, rather aggressive technique, here we are doing a parallel attitude, meaning defending and counterattacking and advancing towards the opponent as soon as possible. Because turning to the opponent will not enable you to strike him with your backhand, this time the left hand. The idea is to advance towards the opponent with strong defenses, and the first counterattack will be with the leg, with the knee, which is the closest to him. The action is combined from hand defense with a close hand, sending your weight, advancing with the back leg a bit, turning towards the opponent, and striking first of all with the closed knee, with the right knee. At the same time, the backhand neutralizes the ability of the opponent to stab again. It is with the forearm reach towards the forearm of the opponent, with the hook grab his forearm, then turn the body and continue with the body defense to move away from the channel and naturally from the line of the attack. Grabbing the forearm of the attacking hand should be as soon as possible. Your far leg is advancing diagonally forward to enable the initial knee kick. Then continue to move out from the danger zone, get out from the channel, continue to control the opponent's arm with your left hand while counterattacking with your backhand, with your right hand. This is the hand that was initially defending. In this technique as well, one should be careful from removing the hand defenses. Meaning, send your hand defense, send the forearm defense to meet the attack as soon as possible and press with your forearms towards the area that the attack is recoiling to. After advancing towards the opponent, then you get out from the danger zone. Then you get out from the channel of the attack. From a medium distance, the attacker advances with a rather large step and tries to stab towards the upper part, the neck, the head, the trapeze area. As this is a medium distance, we have enough time to try to get out from the channel of the attack as soon as possible. In this case, as you execute the hand defense, the closed leg is moving diagonally forward and turning. The foot turns, landing with the toes towards the opponent. At the same time, the body is turning towards the opponent. This brings the backhand to the position that it is able either to counterattack, but in most cases, just to grab and neutralize the attacker's hand. As the stabbing hand is being grabbed, the defending hand can do now strong counterattacks, while the whole body already moved out from the channel. In all these cases, we either move away after the defending and counterattacking, or we neutralizes the attacker's ability to resist and disarm him, then move away from the danger zone. In this technique, it is important to move away from the channel of the attack, the line of the attack, as soon as possible. This is being done by the step diagonally forward with a whole turn of the foot and a whole turn of the body. The moment you lifted the leg which is closer to the opponent, you start moving towards him. So your back leg, your far leg, in this case the left leg, needs to push strongly while the body is turning, getting out of the channel of the attack. Pay attention that your step is diagonally forward towards the opponent's side. The defending hand here deflects a bit the attacking hand. However, be careful not to swing your defending arm too much to the side. This may expose you to additional knife stabs. The backhand should grab and control the attacking arm as soon as possible. The same time that you're controlling the opponent's arm, the far hand, the backhand now, this was the defending hand, counterattacks strongly to neutralize further resistance and any further attacks that the opponent, the attacker, tries to do. The controlling hand is moving with some sort of an inside defense and using the hook of the wrist and the grab of the palm to neutralize the opponent's ability to move with his attacking hand. Against an underhand knife attack from the short range with control, the attacker approaches and stabs from a short range. In order to facilitate a good attack, it's enough for the attacker to make a short step, a foot or so. Defender blocks and counterattacks simultaneously. Continue with more counterattacks. Push the opponent's hand backwards. Advance forward and wrap your forearm around the forearm of the opponent. At the same time, continue with more counterattacks. Grabbing, wrapping the opponent's forearm is only possible if the attacker doesn't attack anymore at this moment. Lowering yourself, bending at the waist, is most important. Without it, the knife will not be stopped away from your body. Wrapping the opponent's hand should be while your body moves forward, so eventually the knife will be found behind you. To facilitate very good control, the hook with your palm, the pinky area, should be on the elbow of the opponent. Your elbow is pressed by the side of the ribs and backwards. Like this, the knife is definitely behind you. In order to disarm the opponent, turn backwards, look if the knife is there. If it is there, grab the opponent's fist. At this moment, it is no longer needed to look at the hand of the opponent. Grab strongly the opponent's palm. The heel of your hand is pressed against the back of the hand of the opponent. Lift your elbow, lift the elbow of the hand which is wrapped around the opponent's arm, and then with your palm, in a strong C-grip, grab his wrist. Now move away from the danger zone, straightening more or less your elbows. It's a good distance to deliver a kick if it is needed, and now you can easily disarm the opponent. Bend his wrist, send his knuckles towards his forearm. Then relax your grip, insert your fingers into the opponent's palm, into the opponent's grip, grab the knife and take it away from you as the blade is being directed outward to the side. In this technique, it is most important to apply the control, wrapping around the opponent's forearm only when the attacker is partly idle. Defending the underhand, the upward knife stab, while moving diagonally forward with the diagonal forearm. You manage to see the attackers starting his action from a medium range. So the attacker needs to make a big step in order to reach you with a stab. We use the basic 360 hand defense, stopping, blocking the attack at the wrist area. The body defense is turning and moving diagonally forward. So a body torque and a step diagonally forward. The back leg also leaves the channel of the attack. You reach more or less at 45 degrees to the opponent. Turning the pelvis and the torso and moving diagonally forward enables an early counterattack with the backhand. You should counterattack strongly as soon as you can. The forearm defense reaches a situation that your elbow is lower than the attacker's forearm. Like this, there are little chances that the attack will slide towards your body. If it will slide on your defense, it will slide away from your body. Initially, the forearm defense should meet the attacking arm relatively close to the opponent's body. So send your forearm early to meet the attacker's forearm near his body. The turning of your body and moving diagonally forward enables you to slant your forearm, to angle it in a way that your palm will be able to grab the wrist of the opponent. In this grip, your fingers are the bony side of his forearm, the side of the pinky, but on the wrist area. Counterattack as soon as possible and also get away from the line and then the channel of the attack. After the initial counterattacks, use a double control. The backhand should grip the opponent's fist with the heel of the hand pressed against the back of the hand of the opponent. Create distance between you and the opponent, either with attacks or by moving away. In order to disarm the opponent, you should turn the knife to the outside, bend his wrist strongly, and then relax the grip. Insert your fingers into the opponent's palm and scrape the knife away from him. The blade should never be redirected towards you. After disarming, counterattack is needed and move away from the danger zone. Against an underhand knife attack from the close of the medium range, while the attacker is coming and stabbing the dead side behind your arm. In this situation, the attacker is coming with a right hand attack from your right side. The basic 360 of hand defense, sending the forearm to meet the attack as early as possible and away from your body. So tilting sideways is the beginning of the action. Defending at the wrist area of the opponent while leaning towards it and pivoting strongly. Bringing the backhand to support and protect against next stabs. Move diagonally forward with the back leg and counterattack strongly. As you lean to block the knife, pivot, turn your body and move the pelvis, move the lower part of the body away from the danger zone. You should pivot on both balls of the feet about 180 degrees to the initial situation, to the initial position. Bend a bit the knee, which is closer to the opponent, and advance with the back leg diagonally forward. As you switch hands, the defending hand can counterattack strongly. The reason for this technique is an attacker who stabs like this usually finds himself more behind you, so early counterattacks are not possible. The process of the actions of the hands is defend, defend, attack. Defend with a close hand, defend with a far hand, and then counterattack with the hand that was defending first. This is now a backhand. Leaning towards the opponent while you block the attack is most important to be able to stop it. It also enables you and make it more comfortable to do a spin on both balls of the feet. In this technique, you practically reach the position that you reached in the previous one. The second defending hand is in an angle, diagonal on the opponent's hand. Here again, your elbow is lower than his. The counterattacks should be devastating. Then continue as you know from the previous technique. Against an underhand knife attack, coming towards your stomach. A similar problem to the previous one, however, now the attacker is not attacking at your back side, but at your front side more. So the knife is being sent towards your stomach, towards the lower part of the abdominal, or even towards the neck. The technique is constructed from a forearm defense, a second forearm action for defend and control, moving diagonally backwards towards the opponent with an early counterattack, which is usually the first hammer sideways. Continue with more counterattacks and move away. Controlling the opponent's hand is not so feasible in this technique. The first block meets the wrist of the opponent, while your palm is directed forward or upwards. From this point of contact, the defense should be recoiled and sent like a hammer punch sideways to the head of the opponent. The backhand, as soon as possible, is going to block or serve as a protection from a second stab. In this case, the palm is directed downwards or even towards your body. The function of the backhand is naturally to be able to block a second or a third counterattack. That is the main thing. The backhand usually does not do any control techniques, but more of a protection technique. As you bend to facilitate a more efficient block, your closed leg is moving diagonally backwards, and the far leg then follows. You should counterattack as soon as possible, and then kick will be most efficient with the back leg. This will push your body more diagonally behind the knife. Defending a pistol threat from the front. You are at arm's reach from the pistol. The components of this technique are the hand defense. This is the active defense. The body defense. This is the dynamic defense. The control, the counterattack, and the disarm, which belongs to the finishing mode. You should start with the hand defense, and as soon as possible also with the body defense. With the hand defense, send your palm below the barrel. Then in a turning motion, send the thumb down and the fingers up. This torque should create a full deflection of the pistol. You are sending the pistol diagonally forward towards the opponent. Grab the pistol as soon as possible, so you deflect and grab the pistol practically simultaneously. At the same time as you move your hand towards the pistol, you also move your body away from the line of fire. Use a body turn, meaning pelvis and torso, and shift your weight diagonally forward. At the same time as you are executing your hand defense, the other hand is coming near the face. Shift your weight and move diagonally forward and strike the opponent as soon as possible. Striking the opponent that holds the pistol strongly enables you to turn the pistol, manipulate its grip with your palm and wrist. Now you can send the pistol down when it's directed away from you. One should not send the pistol down unless the pistol has been turned, so the barrel is pointing sideways. After the strike, you should recoil your hand towards your body, so the hand will not cross the line of fire. The two hands meet down and create a double control on the pistol. The back hand, with the palm fingers together like a hook, like a cup, grabs the back side of the pistol, the hammer side of it. Turn the pistol, rotate it in the opponent's hand. The barrel should be pointing sideways, away from you. The pistol should be brought to a perpendicular angle, meaning vertical to you, vertical to the ground. So if you would be looking downwards to the magazine, you will see the butt of the magazine, the lower part of the magazine towards you. Your whole body is outside the channel of the attack. Step away and then pull the gun, disarming the opponent. Stepping diagonally forward, the front leg should be brought to a line approximately of the body or the front leg of the opponent. Closing with the back leg brought your body to 45 degrees more or less to the opponent, meaning you are completely outside of the channel of the attack. Regarding the control of the weapon, the grip with one hand starts the control. The punch and the turning of the pistol in the opponent's hand away from you is the second section of the control. The third section of the control is to put your weight on it, meaning you should bring the pistol as soon as possible. As this is a threatening type of situation, not a dynamic attack, you should be ready that your punch caused the opponent to fly backwards, to move away, stumble, or even fall towards the ground. Be ready for this. Start with the hand defense, follow with the body defense, the control, the counterattack, then sending the hands down for the double control, the disarming, and the finishing mode. The hand defense should be 100% efficient. The body defense too should be 100% efficient. The body torque and moving diagonally forward. Thus you have 200% defense executed simultaneously. If the opponent grabs the pistol in a strong grip, only after the counterattack you'll be able to push the pistol down. Indeed, the pistol should be brought under your shoulder. However, in this position it must be horizontal and turning sideways. Like this, the attacker cannot manipulate and cannot redirect the weapon towards you. After disarming, move away from the danger zone. However, if it is extremely needed and definitely possible, one can use the weapon. If you know this pistol, you can use it. Making the pistol usable, one should know how to operate it. However, if you have got a pistol in your hand, governmental forces may treat you like a criminal or a terrorist. Be aware of this. Dealing with unknown attacks. Here we are practically practicing identification of problems and decision making, finding and executing the right solution for each problem. The defender ignites you, starts you with an attack. Open your eyes, identify the situation and deal with the next attack. Here we show different options. Initially, all attacks in the specific scenario should be similar. So if the attacker has a knife, he will attack 2, 3, 4 times with the same hand in the same manner. The first attack just wakes you up. You have to identify the problem and deal with the second attack and don't get hit by any of the consecutive attacks. Here we demonstrate the attacker who attacks with a knife, with a stick, with a kick. Naturally, all possibilities are possible. The attacker may grab with a less dangerous or a more dangerous grab. The idea is that as a defender, the moment you sense the problem, open your eyes while acting with defenses, with counterattacks, with preventive measures, all in order to prevent or deter or eliminate any danger which is directed towards you. At the later stage, the attack that wakes you up and the attack that you need to deal with should be very different. A returning attacker. The principles and the essence have been cleared and practiced before. We must always be ready for the attacker to return with more attacks. If we manage to neutralize the attacker momentarily and continue as needed with what the missions are, then the conflict was practically over. However, if we did not manage to do that, it is clear that we have to handle the returning attacker. Here the attacker attacked with a stick. When the stick fell down, the attacker returned with punching. Attacker continued. He did not stop after the counterattacks. Maybe the counterattacks were not efficient enough. Maybe the counterattacks missed. In any case, the attacker continues. You have to deal with it. So the moment you're doing any sort of technique, any sort of solution, always be prepared that the solution was not effective enough. So you will need other solutions. Here's another example of a returning attacker. Attacker here continues by taking a knife and trying to stab after he failed with his initial attack. After the first solution, after the first release and counterattacks, you now have to deal with another type of threat. This time the attacker is doing upwards knife stab. Deal with whatever is coming. We just gave 2 examples. One has to train on solutions for different problems that change to other various situations and problems and attacks. The simulation for G1 is happening near the ATM machine. The client, the defender, is busy with the actions of drawing the money from the cash machine. The threat was not observed earlier. The attacker comes from the side and with the threat of a knife intimidates and tries to rob. As the attacker is positioned at a relatively longer range, the immediate solution is naturally deflecting the knife with a forearm defense and counterattacking. This is the basic technique in which we do forearm defense, tilting away from the danger zone, simultaneously with kicking either to the knee or to the lower ribs of the opponent. After the initial counterattacks, the situation has changed, and what you need to do is go to the finishing mode, meaning either more counterattacks and moving away from the danger zone, or as needed, collect your things and move away. Remember, as possible, do not leave anything in the area. Collect all your things. In most cases, the defense should be done with the bony part of the forearm, whether it's a high threat or a low threat. The bony part at the side of the pinky will be deflecting strongly the threat. The defense itself should be in the area of the palm or wrist of the opponent. As you're close to the wall, in the training, you should practice how it is to function near a wall. Bending to the right direction, not bending to the wrong direction and hitting yourself at the wall that may cause you damage. Another option for this simulation is to deal with a common threat, with a common problem that somebody approaches you from behind. Here an example is that the opponent turned you, so you'll be facing him. In this case, you can see the knife, he can see you, he can see your hands, he can take your money easily. Naturally, the threat is intimidating, and the attacker who's operating fast is taking your money, which you just took from the machine. The moment you identify the problem, act. Here the example is that the defender was turned and then identified the problem. A basic technique is being applied here, meaning hand defense, body defense, control, and counterattack. The basic technique of defending a knife threat from the front at the close or medium range. Use a strong C-grip to deflect and control the knife hand. Move diagonally forward and counterattack as soon as you can. Your counterattack can be with the hand even if you hold something in it. Continue with more counterattacks, and as needed, push away the opponent and move away from the danger zone, or disarm the opponent, or grab the things that he already took. Please remember that you need to collect your things if it is possible and not dangerous. If the opponent was neutralized enough and you've got enough time, grab your things, take your keys, your wallet, your bag, whatever, and then move away from the danger zone. In any case, please remember that in activity like this, when you are more vulnerable, try to search, to look at the area, scan, and look for problematic people. It is not so recommended to be with many possessions, with many objects that you need to be busy with while you are taking money from the machine, or if there will be any need for actions. Defending against a horizontal stick attack directed towards the leg or the knee area. Like in the regular technique against a baseball swing from the side bursting forward, here too, you turn the body and burst forward strongly. If you manage to see that the attack is low, at the last moment you can lift your front hand, absorb the attack on the leg, the thigh, and grab the hand holding the weapon or the weapon itself. Counterattack as early as possible with the rear hand. And then create distance by moving away or pushing the opponent backwards, and disarm with additional counterattacks as needed. Your thigh should be absorbing the attack, the part which is close to the holding hand itself. You should advance with your back leg as soon as possible, so if the stick is circling around you, it will not get hit. After the counterattacks, while you do the finishing mode, you can either move away from danger zone or disarm the opponent and then continue as needed. Defending with a shin against a horizontal swing with a stick coming from the side. The attack is directed towards your leg, towards your knee. As you are a bit surprised, bursting forward is more difficult. So in this case, you are lifting and blocking the attack with the side, the muscular part of your shin. The shin is blocking and absorbing the attack on the area of the palm, holding the stick, or the lower part of the stick, meaning near the hands. As soon as possible, with your front hand, control the stick or the hands holding it. In all these techniques, it doesn't matter if the stick is being held by one or by two hands. You lifted your shin and blocked the attack. Continue with advancing forward, closing the gap, closing the distance, and counterattacking as soon as the most efficient as you can. Finish the situation by moving away from the danger zone or disarming if it's possible, and continue as needed. Note that the side of the foreleg, the muscular part, the fleshy part, is the one that is absorbing and defending the attack. Avoid blocking with the bony area. Using a stop kick to block the swing of the stick. As before, here too the attacker is swinging with the stick to hit your leg, to hit your knee. It is difficult for you to move forward. The idea is to be able to block the attack as soon as possible, away from you. If you are able and capable, your kicks are accurate, and your technique is done well, the option that you have, if you are a bit stuck at your place, is to block the attack using your foot, especially if you've got a good shoe. The foot, in a perpendicular angle, is blocking the attack. The area of the block is the part of the stick which is very close to the opponent's hand. Hitting the opponent's hand may result in the stick swinging and still hitting you. So hit and block the stick itself. This technique needs high level of accuracy. You should lift your knee, direct and send your foot to block and stop the attack. This is a simple, short stomping kick directed to the attack and able to stop it when the attack is considerably away from you. You utilize this technique in a situation that in one hand you cannot advance so well forward, on the other hand you do have enough time to stop the stick away from you. After the stop kick, advance forward as soon as you can, close the gap, continue with counterattacks, and if possible also control and disarm the opponent. In the case that the opponent drops the stick, you can either move away from the danger zone or pick up the stick and use it as necessary.
As a fighter in a fight or a person during a violent confrontation, three types of elements may hinder you, may influence you, may influence your mental state. The first is who is in front of you. Whether it's a bigger person, more muscular, or a smaller person, a young person, a woman, who is your attacker? Who is the person that is confronting you? This is influencing you mentally, if the person has a weapon in the hand. The size of the person, the violence in his face, the craziness in his eyes, all this may influence you. The second is the place that you are in. Whether it's a nice resort or it's a crowded area. Whether it's a dark alley or a lit beach. The place itself is influence you mentally. The last thing, the third thing, is the situation itself. Of course, we are in a confrontation, but are you by yourself or with other people? Is the one person or multiple opponents? Who is with you? What are your goals? Whether you're an officer of the law or a civilian who wants to get home safely. The situation is influencing you also. The truth is, and it's very important to understand, that you must not be influenced by these three kinds of elements. If they influence you, they change you. They hinder your abilities. They drain your mental resources. If you don't care about who is in front of you and what is in front of you and the place that you are at and the whole situation, naturally you can function much, much better. Practice the different drills, how to neutralize this mental effect on you as a person in a confrontation, you as a fighter in a fight.